Gemini, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your small story reading for January 2020. For those of you who are new in these small story readings, I choose a book off of the shelf that seems to be speaking to you. I turn to a passage at random and I will share that passage with you. Afterwards, we'll pull some cards, see if we can illuminate the story a little further. All right, so Gemini, today's passage that wants to speak to you is from The Artist's Way. A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity by Julia Cameron. Classic book. If you haven't done The Artist's Way or read The Artist's Way, it is a workbook, so it is actually something that you do. It's an activity that you do to connect with your intuitive self and allow that to open you up creatively. It's a beautiful experience. It really is. There's some really strong takeaways from this book. And so this whole chapter is entitled Recovering a Sense of Integrity. And the whole thing is sort of framed as like an artist in recovery, you know, like how to reawaken the inner artist. And the passage that wants to speak to you is what Julia Cameron calls reading deprivation. Now I want to introduce a caveat to this before I offer it. This book was written, I should have checked beforehand, but I'll check now. I want to say like probably in the 90s. Yeah, 1992. This book was written. So this is far, earlier than the level of social media we are currently experiencing. I would say that what she calls reading deprivation in today's time is actually more encouraging us to like separate ourselves from media in general, media deprivation. So we'll see how it goes reading this passage. I may replace her words reading deprivation with media deprivation. Here we go. If you feel stuck in your life or in your art, few jump starts are more effective than a week of reading deprivation or media deprivation. No reading? That's right. No reading. No scrolling. For most artists, words are like tiny tranquilizers. We have a daily quota of media chat that we swallow up like greasy food. It clogs our system. Too much of it and we feel, yes, fried. It is a paradox that by emptying our lives of distractions, we are actually filling the well. Without distractions, we are once again thrust into the sensory world. With no newspaper to shield us, a train becomes a viewing gallery. With no novel to sink into and no television to numb us out, an evening becomes a vast savannah in which furniture and other assumptions get rearranged. Reading deprivation casts us into our inner silence, a space some of us begin to fill immediately with new words. Long gossipy conversations, television binging, the radio as a constant chatty companion. We often cannot hear our own inner voice, the voice of our artist's inspiration above the static. In practicing reading deprivation or media deprivation, we need to cast a watchful eye on these other pollutants. They poison the well. If we monitor the inflow and keep it to a minimum, we will be rewarded for our reading deprivation with embarrassing speed. Our reward will be a new outflow. Our own art, our own thoughts and feelings will begin to nudge aside the sludge of blockage, to loosen it and move it upward and outward until once again our well is running free. Media deprivation is a very powerful tool and a very frightening one. Even thinking about it can bring up enormous rage. For most blocked creatives, reading is an addiction. Media is an addiction. We gobble the words of others rather than digest our own thoughts and feelings, rather than cook up something of our own. In my teaching, the week that I assign reading deprivation is always a tough one. I go to the podium knowing that I will be the enemy. I break the news that we won't be reading, and then I brace myself for the waves of antagonism and sarcasm that follow. At least one student always explains to me pointedly in no uncertain terms that he or she is a very important and busy person with duties and obligations that include reading. This information is inevitably relayed in a withering tone that applies of an idiot child, an artistic flake, unable to grasp the complexities of an adult life. I just listen. When the rage has been vented, when all the Assigned reading for college courses and jobs have been mentioned. I point out that I have had jobs, I have gone to college, and that in my experience, and I had many times wriggled out of reading for a week due to procrastination. As blocked creatives, we can be very creative at wriggling out of things. I ask my class to turn their creativity to wriggling into not reading, not consuming media. But what will we do comes next. Here is a brief list of some things that people do when they are not reading. Listen to music, make curtains, wash the dog, sort closets, pay bills, write old friends, repot some plants, mend, knit, cook, fix the bike, watercolor, rewire the lamp, paint the bedroom, rearrange the kitchen, work out, meditate, have friends to dinner, get the stereo working, sort bookshelves, go dancing. Even at the safe remove of the written word, I can feel the shockwaves of antagonism about trying this tool. I will tell you that those who have most resisted it have come back the most smugly rewarded for having done it. The nasty bottom line is this: sooner or later, if you're not reading, you will run out of work and be forced to play. You'll light some incense, put on an old jazz record, paint a shelf turquoise, and then you will feel not just better, but actually a little excited. Okay. Fitting for Gemini, yeah? Us mercurial humans, okay, I'm a Virgo. We love the written word. We love to consume media. We love to be inspired in that way. And so there's this really beautiful challenge that Julia Cameron presents to us, which says, what happens if we don't do that for just a week? And she's not recommending you never read again. Obviously, reading can be incredibly inspiring, right? Consuming social media even can be incredibly inspiring. But she says, what happens if you just remove that noise, the external noise from your life for a short time? Then what? What emerges in the open, newly opened space? Interesting. Let's get to cards. We're using the Next World Tarot today. Give you a couple shuffles here on camera, Gemini. Okay, one more. Lovely. All right, these cards are big, so I just spread them out here, and I'm just gonna choose 3 at random. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. All right. What have we got? Your card. Good. The Lovers. Ooh, yeah. Beautiful. Oh my God. Couldn't write it better if I tried. Look at that. The Four of Swords, the Lovers, your card, Gemini, and the Six of Wands. I mean, here's the story right here. Bottom line, you get a little distance in your workshop alone, and you get, this internal reflection time with the Four of Swords, and you meet yourself in an entirely new way that leads to major victory. I mean, like, boom, 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 turn the camera off. That's it right there. It's just like really illuminating very clearly and concisely this pretty robust message that has been brought through the artist's way. I love this, the irony of the Four of Swords card. How we see a person typing on a typewriter. It's really beautiful because this whole thing is her saying, like, in order to reawaken your own artistic impulses and your own word flow, your own thought flow, it's important to cut out external thought flows and external, word influx. And here we see that we see this person like almost like locked away in their own little attic workshop up here, they got all their stuff in here. They're surrounded by all their things. What does it say? Respite. Yeah, taking a respite, getting some distance, Gemini, and just really focusing on then like what comes out of you when suddenly you've got all of this space. It's almost as if this person has been up, suddenly inspired. They've been up all night reading, and then this is the sunrise in the morning, the dawn breaking, and they didn't even realize they were up all night writing. Did I say reading? They were up all night writing. They were up all night making art, creating things, rearranging furniture, painting the walls that they've been meaning to paint all of this time, you know, whatever that is for you, Gemini. It's beautiful. I can feel the energy here, just like super focused, and suddenly you're just like all in on your own inner subconscious inspiration. Because for me, the Four of Swords is very much about the unconscious workings. It's that moment of drifting off to sleep, lying in that in between sleep and wake, you know, that space where suddenly our brain waves kick in this different kind of way, and the subconscious can be expressed. It's like that's what happens when you take a little bit of distance and you dive into that internal realm and open up space for that internal realm to be present. I'm noticing this. I've never seen this in this card before. Over here it says 2013. See the boxes under the table? It says 2013 regrets. There's a box of 2013 and there's a box of regrets from 2014, actually. I'm looking at that closer. Here's the box from 2013 and the regrets from 2014. So funny. This person, I'm very much drawn. Oh, look, there's a cat. There's a cat in the background. Cute. I'm very much drawn to the fact that this person is in this like small space surrounded by clutter, like absolutely overwhelmed by, you know, it's like they got cereal out, they poured it, they ate it, and just like sat it right back there because they're so consumed with something creative. Maybe you're finding yourself, I think this clutter is speaking to it may be speaking to your physical living space. It very well may. But I think this clutter could also be speaking to just the clutter of media that we allow into our lives constantly. We all do it, myself included. Maybe I'll take this Gemini advice. But we all allow this clutter to enter our consciousness in ways that we probably don't even realize the space it's taking up unconsciously. It's like the example of when you live in clutter like this all the time, you just start to not see it. You know, like I'm looking right now at this like huge pile of books that I have like randomly stacked in a place that they don't need to be. And they've been there for so long and I've just gotten used to them being there like that, even though that's not where they go, you know. And it's sort of like that sensation is you just get used to it. It's to the point where you don't even really see it anymore. It just becomes part of the background noise. So this is really about background noise and what happens when you declutter, when you get rid of that. Look at this. You meet yourself. You meet your naked, pure self in the mirror. You meet yourself in a way, perhaps, Gemini, you have not met in a long time. Which is really beautiful because it's like your pure self here coming out of the mirror with spoons. It's like this one has something really nourishing for you, something really nourishing to offer you. It's like this one wants to feed you. And there's something here too about like this person's clothing, sort of like the cluttered version of your consciousness, and this being the uncluttered version of your consciousness, just like that bare space nakedness. And look how tenderly that part of you comes through with a gentle touch and some bit of sustenance to offer you. It's like, this is your muse, Gemini. You are your muse coming through here. I'm really being drawn to the coat rack being absent of coats. Again, like just speaking to all of the clutter, and then suddenly it's like the room is cleared and there's nothing but you the empty coat rack, and your inner self. Now having the space to step through the mirror and engage and look at your face. Like, look how just like tender, like how that tenderness from yourself and this sustenance coming through from your own self is just like so nourishing. It feels so good. You know, this person is just like, oh, that feels so good. It's, you know, getting from, like Julia Cameron is saying, there's so much resistance present to this kind of clearing out. There's so much resistance present. It can be like, you might intellectually know, and I'm sure you do, Gemini, that on the other end of this, it would feel really good, but the resistance present often is enough to just like stop you from doing it, even though you know it would feel so good. So there's this question of like examining that resistance and pushing through it in order to really have this experience with yourself, to gift yourself this experience, this kind of connection with yourself. And it just brings you to this absolute victory. In this particular deck, the Six of Wands is Jupiter and Leo. Expansion of your Leo energy, wherever that is for you in your chart. Expansion of, you know, for me, Leo energy is the sun energy. It is the expansion of your personality. Like, it's like when you declutter that physical space, mental space, emotional space of all of the influx, then suddenly the outflow is actually you. It's Jupiter and Leo. It's the expansion of your personality and maybe even your creativity, because Leo is absolutely that creative fire as well, that creative expression of your personal fire. And so that can suddenly begin to come out. We see decolonization and rebirth written on these pillows. It's like, and again, I'm seeing the decluttered nature of this card. It's like stripped down to the bare bones structure of just like pillows on a platform here. But notice how the platform is high up in the air. It's like doing this, making this choice to go push through the resistance and experience yourself with all of this space and in this new way. It like up levels you. It raises you up into this way above. It like decolonizes your mind. Essentially this media break, this break from consuming media and words and thoughts of others decolonizes your consciousness and your energy field from all of that stuff, cluttering. It's like stripping away those layers, elevates you in this way and readies you for a rebirth. There's this amazing sense of inner security and connection that this person is exuding. And again, with the sunrise being in both cards here. There's a sense of starting over with the Six of Wands. A fresh start, bringing victory with this like fresh connection with yourself, because the Six of Wands is looking over at the Lovers. Okay, so Gemini, I'm going to take this into an extended reading now where we're really going to expand on all of this. What does this mean for you specifically? We're going to use different decks and pull out some clarifying cards for each one of these. We're going to get oracle cards, see what this situation is really about for you. Okay, so if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. There will be a preview of that extended reading at the end of this video. If it's resonating with you, click the link in the description box below. That will take you over to Vimeo where you can view that reading instantly. All right, my friend. So perhaps I'll see you over on Vimeo. If not, take care. Thanks for tuning in and Happy New Year. It's almost like in order for this to come into your life, this has to happen first. It's like if you want this kind of connection with another person, with your current partner, with someone who has not yet come into your life, whatever this is, like wanting this kind of connection with someone else, it's like, here's how you do it. You need to take some time out for yourself. You need to give yourself some space. Maybe seriously consider a social media break, or like a break from some sort of outward influx. Meet yourself on a very raw, new level with all this clutter cleared. And then like that paves the way for this decolonization of your mind, decluttering of your mind, and gives you this rebirth, this sense of victory within yourself, that you're super solid within yourself. You've up-leveled, you've done the work to elevate yourself to a place of absolute victory and solidity in who you are, in the expression of your personality, and maybe even the expression of your creative fire. And then this can come into your life.